Mark Walsh from Embodied Yoga Principles here. This is a prescription for anxiety using yoga postures. So first thing I'd say is if you have clinical anxiety, of course see a doctor or a psychologist for the normal things. This is just something that can support that. Also look at the introductory video on what we call prescriptions. These aren't medical. These are sets of practices that can be done to support a way of being. So if you're an anxious person, if that's something you suffer from, this may be some useful postures. I mean, generally, yoga is often very helpful for anxiety, though there are some counterindications. How can we make it more helpful? Well, if we think of anxiety as speeding up, then that really gives us the answer. So often it's forwards and up anxiety. It's like, yeah, or forwards and back, sometimes the fear aspect to it, but it's usually a slight up. No one gets anxious like, I'm really anxious, right? That's more like depression, yeah? So anxiety is kind of up here. So first thing is the belly breathing, learning to breathe down into the belly. So the diaphragm's moving, the belly's moving as you breathe. Slow down. If you're doing a yoga practice and you have anxiety, it's important that the practice is a pretty slow, gentle kind of hatha practice, and not like that kind of jumping around practice you'll see sometimes, particularly in big cities, big yoga studios. So slow yoga practice is the general thing with the belly breathing. The emphasis in attention, feeling the feet. Yeah, maybe it's feeling the knees or the bum, but feeling whatever's on the ground. Focusing on postures which are on the ground. Yeah, you're feeling that lower half of your body, whether you're sitting or standing or whatever you're doing, but focusing postures here. Yeah, so they're the main things I'd say around anxiety. There are particular postures from EYP I would recommend as well. So let me give you some examples of those. This one, we actually call this ground posture. So it's quite wide, bending the knees. It's a bit like horse stance if you've done martial arts. Yeah, that's one posture I definitely recommend. Finding the lower half of your body. If your anxiety is also around kind of confidence type issues, look at some of the videos on confidence. So some of the more forwards ones, if your particular flavor of what we call anxiety is more back, oh shit, I can't do it. A little bit more of the forwards ones like this, or the warrior as well can be helpful, yeah? Like warriors don't get anxious. If you're in that warrior posture, it's like, I can fucking take on the world, right? So that might be another good one. Self-care, self-love postures, another really nice one to do. Yeah, wrapping yourself up in yourself. Yeah, sometimes with anxiety, it's a fear of kind of being seen and going out. So some of the sort of bigger being seen postures, like this being seen posture, can be helpful. And again, anything lying down, anything on the floor. So rest posture is one of the classics we use. And in this position, really feeling your body, feeling your back, noticing what's touching the floor, what isn't, visualizing your body touching the floor more. Having that sense of being held by the ground. Down and back. Restfulness. So I hope that helps. And remember, these aren't, if you're suffering from severe anxiety or clinical level, these aren't things to replace the kind of normal treatments that are out there. They're just things that might be helpful as a support. I feel more relaxed. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. More importantly, however, get the newsletter. So the newsletter you do, is that right? In the box here? Okay. So why you would want the newsletter? So you hear about the best videos, so you actually ask me questions, you can reply to the newsletter, I'll reply. You can hear about events, teacher trainings, other things that are happening, and stay in touch more reliably. So newsletter there.